Hello everyone, it's Jennifer with Crafty Bones, and today we have another vegetable friend. This is Mr. Eggplant. So we're going to get the camera turned around and we're going to get started. Okay everyone, so here he is. And for this one I used some impeccable yarn from Loops and Threads, and the color is amethyst, but I have a fear that this is so dark it's not going to show up very well on camera. So for the demo, we're going to use this Red Heart Super Saver purple, and then the color is Dark Orchid. And I really think that this is going to work out better when you're trying to stitch on camera. The green I used for both is also Red Heart Super Saver, and it's spring green. You could use a darker green as well, but I think this one worked out pretty well. You're going to need a yarn needle. And I used two different crochet hooks for the body. I used a 5mm hook, and let's see if you can see that. Yep. And for the leaves on top, I used a 4mm hook. That's not it. Anyway, I'm certain it was a 4mm hook. It's here somewhere. And you're going to need some eyes, and you will need a scrap of black for the mouth. You could also use white for the mouth. I did use the black on this darker purple and it still shows up nicely, so I think it'll show up even better on the lighter purple. All right, let's get started. All right, we're going to start with the magic circle. Around your fingers twice, crossed in the back, under the first loop, over the second one, and then just chain. Sometimes you have to loosen it up a little, but it's there. All right. So our first round is going to be 5 single crochet into the magic circle after 1 chain up. So the chain up's not going to count. 1, oops, split my yarn. 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to pull that tight and slip stitch into our first stitch. If you're not sure, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So this will be our first stitch. And slip stitch through there. Round 2 is going to be an increase, chain up 1 and single crochet 2 times right into that little gap created there. Going to end with 10 stitches, 2 single crochet in each stitch around. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch over here. Make sure you go through both sides of the stitch. Alright, that's the end of round 2. We're going to make sure that's tight again. Round 3, you're going to chain up 1 and put 2 single crochet into that gap that shows up when you pull. So right there. 1, 2, the next single crochet is going to be by itself. That's 3, 4 and 5 go together. 6 is by itself. 7 and 8 go together. 9 is by itself. 10 and 11 go together. 12 is by itself. 13 and 14 go together. 15 is by itself. And slip stitch into your first stitch. All right, so that is the end of round 3, and you should have 15 stitches. Round 4, again, you're going to chain up 1 and put 2 single crochet right into that gap. And then the next one is a single crochet by itself and another one by itself for a total of 4 stitches. That means our multiple will be 4, and every time we have a multiple of 4, the next one will be an increase. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is an increase, 5 and 6 together. 7 by itself and 8 by itself. 9 and 10 will be together. 11 by itself and 12 by itself. 13 and 14 will be together. 15 by itself, 16 by itself, 17 and 18 will be together, 19 and 20 will each be their own in a single crochet. And we're back where we started. We have 20 stitches for round 4, slip stitch on to round 5. Chain up 1, 2 single crochet into the first stitch. For the next 3 stitches, it's going to be single crochets in each one. So this will be 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5. Our multiple is 5 this time. We know we're going to increase here. 6 and 7 go together. And then 3 single crochets separate. 1, 2, and 3. Let's get some yarn out. All right. The next 2 are together. And then 3 single crochets by themselves. This is 2 together. The next 3 are by themselves. The next 2 are together. And it looks like I may have missed a stitch somewhere. We should end this with 25 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. No, I'm going to end with 25. I'm sure I missed the pattern up somewhere, but it's going to be 2 single crochet in 1, followed by 3 single crochet alone. As long as you end up with 25 stitches, I think you'll be fine. All right, so round 6, we're still increasing. It's going to be 2 single crochets in the first one, followed by 4 single crochets by themselves. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then 2 single crochet together, followed by 4 by themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, I'll meet you back over here at the end. And this is 30. And slip stitch into the top. All right, for round 7, chain up 1, 2 single crochet into this first stitch here, followed by 5 single crochets all in their own stitch. So that will be a multiple of 7, 2 single crochets, followed by 5 single crochets in separate stitches. I will meet you back at the end. All right, this is 32, 33, 34, 35, and we are going to slip stitch in the beginning. Did I get the first stitch or did I get the chain? I think I got the chain, the second stitch. All right, so for round number 8, Again, we're still increasing, so it's going to be the same thing where you chain up 1, 2 single crochet into the first stitch, followed by 6 single crochet in separate stitches, so that's 2 stitches, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next one will have 2. 9 and 10 are together. And then 6 single crochet. I will meet you back at the beginning with that pattern. Coming up with the last few stitches, 36, 37, 38, 39, and 40. And we are going to slip stitch into our first stitch. Round 9, same thing, still an increase. We're just going to have the first stitch will have 2 double crochets, and it will be followed by 7 separate single crochet. So that's 2 in the first one, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 2 single crochet in this one. 10 and 11 are together, and I will meet you back here. 43, 44, and 45. That will finish off round 9 with 45 stitches. We're going to slip stitch into our beginning stitch. All right. The eggplant is big, so we're still increasing with round 10. We're going to increase all the way through round 12. Sorry, round 11. But this is round 10. So chain 1, 2 single crochet into the first stitch, followed by 8 single crochet in separate stitches. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So you know that's where your increase is going to be after 10, because this is the 10th round. So we're going to start here again with 2 double crochet. 11 and 12 will be together, and I'll meet you at the end. All right, 48, 49, 50, and we're going to slip stitch into our first stitch. All right, so number 11 is our last increase round. So you're going to chain 1 and put 2 single crochet into this gap right there. And that is going to be followed by 9 single crochets all by themselves. So that takes us to 11. That's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. After 11, we're going to increase 2 single crochet together. All right, and we're going to continue this pattern all the way around, and I'll meet you back here. All right, that's 52, 53, 54, and 55. All right. So we are finished increasing. You can see it's probably bowing by now. That's just fine because you want it to anyway. We now have 55 stitches all the way around, and now we're going to go from rows 12 through 20, and it's all just going to be a single crochet all the way around. 55 stitches around for 9 rows. All right, so go ahead and put me on pause, turn on the television, and start counting to 55. All right, this is row 20. That's 53, 54, and 55, and we're going to slip stitch back into that first stitch. All right, so there we have up to row 20, and we have done all of our increases, added a small bit of height, and now we're going to do our first row of decrease. This is going to be row 21, chain 1, and you're going to single crochet into 9 stitches, including this first one here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then for our 10th stitch we're going to single crochet 2 together. So in the first stitch, pull up a loop, into the second stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 3. You've just turned 2 stitches into 1. That is a single crochet 2 together. All right, so again, 9 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and we're going to single crochet 2 together. In the first stitch, pull up a loop. In the second stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through. 9 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're going to single crochet 2 together again. In one stitch, pull up a loop. In the second stitch, pull up a loop, 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through. 9 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, single crochet 2 together. In the stitch, yarn over, in the next stitch, yarn over, 3 on your hook, pull through. 9 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you have 2 stitches left. Those 2 stitches we're going to single crochet together. Through the stitch, pick it up, through another stitch, pick it up, 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then slip stitch into your beginning stitch. All right, that was row 21. All right, here we are. We're ready to start round 22. And for round 22, we are going to chain up 1, and we are going to place 1 single crochet into the next 8 stitches, including the one where we just pulled up. So if you pull it apart, you can see that little gap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together. In the first stitch, pull up a loop. In the second stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through. And back to 8 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, single crochet 2 together, 8 single crochet, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, single crochet 2 together, 8 single crochet, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, single crochet 2 together, 8 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 together. And these are our last 2 stitches. We have to recount that because it looks like I might have skipped one. We should have 45 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. All right, so somewhere in here I did drop a stitch. So I'm just going to put one more in here where that space was available, and then slip stitch. As long as I have 45 stitches, it doesn't really matter how I got there. Just doesn't want to be slip stitched. All right, so now for rows 23 to 28, so the next 6 rows, we're going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, 45 stitches for 6 rows. So you would chain up, put your first single crochet right where that gap is, and then do 44, and I will meet you back here at the end of round 28. 43, 44, and 45, and join with a slip stitch. All right, that was the end of row 28. For 29, we're going to do another decrease. So chain 1 and do 7 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together in 1 stitch, pull up a loop, in a second stitch, pull up a loop, 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through, and again back to 7 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and single crochet 2 together. Oh, my hand is numb. All right, 7 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 single crochet together, and 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, single crochet 2 together, all right, and then back to 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and single crochet the last 2 together, and join with a slip stitch, and that should give you 40 stitches now. Okay, so with your 40 stitches, I now want you to do rows 30 through 40 with 40 stitches all the way around. So that's going to be 11 total rows at 40 stitches per row. Okay, so I'll meet you back after that. Okay, so I have just completed the final stitch on the 40th row. I'm going to pull up a little bit. So you can see this seam that runs all along this back, and this is the seam where you slip stitched, and so it always makes a little bulky line. The way to avoid that is to work in the round, which like we did with the carrot, but this isn't gonna matter much. So what I want you to do is make sure that this is all on this side, because you see it goes as an angle, at an angle, and then turn it over. This is now going to be the front, where the face of our eggplant is going to be. And I want you to grab yourself a scrap of black yarn on a yarn needle. Then you're going to decide where your mouth is going to be. We are going to put about maybe that much more on the eggplant. So I'm going to start my mouth in this area and come in from the underside. Make sure you leave yourself a little tail over here to tie with. And then I'm going to move over a little, and that's how wide my mouth is going to be. And I'm going to pull through, and careful not to pull that one out. And then move down one row and in one row. You can make the mouth however you want. This is just how I do it. And then again, down one and in one. So now you could either leave it this depth, or you could add a third row, but what we're going to do is come in between. Oh, well, I managed to go right in the exact same stitch. I don't know how that happened. Let's go back in. Try that again. And then you're going to come back in the middle here. Again, you can make it longer if that's what you want. I like the way this looks, but typically what I do to finish it off is go back up where I began and go back down into this one. And then over here, I'm going to come in here because that's where I started, so my one to tie to is going to be behind this. And then down into this one. So that's going to be our mouth, and then we can pull our beginning string to make that just a little more tight than it was. So here's our beginning string. I'm going to cut that off. Tie ourselves a knot here. I always tie a three-way square knot there, so there's two, and then I'm going to do a third one. All right, so I don't worry about those. They're going to be inside. I really don't think they're going to come out. And then we're going to turn over, and for round 41, All right, again, chain 1, and this is also going to be a decrease round, so we're going to do 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then single crochet 2 together through the first stitch, pull up a loop, through the second stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. All right, 6 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then single crochet 2 together, and 6 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 together, 6 again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2 together, and 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and our last 2 will be single crochet together. That has 35 stitches, and we're going to slip stitch into our beginning stitch. All right, so now with the 35 stitches for rounds 42 through 47, so for next 6 rows, 1 single crochet all the way around, 35 stitches. Again, 6 rows, 42 through 47, and I'll see you there. All right, coming on the end here now of row 47, that's 33, 34, 35, and slip stitch into the beginning. And then we're gonna, oops, now I don't want to fasten off. That's just crazy talk. I'm gonna just pull up a large band. So what I want you to do now is turn it around back to where you have the mouth sewn on. And this is where we're gonna put the eyes on. So you have to decide how far away from the mouth you want the eyes to be. So I usually just go up and try a spot out, see if I like it. All right, so that's in that row. Try to make it an equal distance from the mouth. But if you look here, it looks like they're both sitting kind of on the same corner, but it looks like they're on different rows. So let's move that one up. All right, so I like where those are at. So I am going to put the latches on those and hold those in place. We're going to start to get smaller around now, and I think it would be difficult to get those eyes in later. And very shortly we are going to begin stitching it. So now for round 48, let's turn back over. All right, we're going to begin with the chain 1 and single crochet into that same spot. So we're going to have 5 single crochets this time. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together through the first stitch, pull up a loop, through the second stitch, pull up a loop, 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then we're going to go back to 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet 2 together, 5 single crochet again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and single crochet 2 together, 5 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, single crochet 2 together, 5 single crochet, 1, oops, missed, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 2 stitches left. Those 2 will be single crochet together. And then slip stitch to your first stitch. That completes row 48. So now for 49 through 52, so for the next 4 rows, you're going to crochet around 1 single crochet for 30 stitches in each row. All right? So remember, that is 4 rows of 30 stitches each. All right, this is the end of 52. So we have 29 and 30, and slip stitch into the beginning stitch. So this is where we're going to start stuffing. And I think I said before, you make it as firm as you want it to be, but you don't want it so firm that it is going to pull the stitches apart. So it'll take a little bit of work to get past those eyeballs. And I have found that this second eggplant that I'm making here with the Red Heart Super Saver, I've used the exact same hook, and because of the different yarn, this eggplant is coming out smaller than the first eggplant. And the first yarn I used was Loops and Threads. They're both a 4-weight, but clearly there is a difference in either the way I'm working with them or in the way, or the actual thickness, despite them both being 4-weight. All right, you don't want to stuff all the way to the top because it makes it harder to actually crochet. But you do want enough in the very bottom of the eggplant where it is its widest that you won't have to try to squeeze your whole hand past it once you get it into a smaller size. So I am trying to get to at least the mouth in a comfortable density for me, but it's still pretty squishy there. See, you can see that my stitches are not coming apart, so it could stand to have more stuffing in there. So I'm just gonna put a little more in there. All right, so I have the bottom stuffed pretty dense right now, and I am about to the mouth. This is about where I've stopped packing, is right here. So for our next row, round 53, let's go back over here. I stuffed my loop in there. Okay, so clearly I did not make sure not to wrap my thread in there, because it's all the way down there. There we go. All right, so for 53, chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into the next 4 stitches, including the one we just chained up from. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together. One, 2, 3, 4, and then single crochet 2 together. All right, complete this pattern all the way around. All right, so we're coming up on the last single crochet 2 together for round 53, and that should end with 25 stitches. We're gonna slip stitch in our first stitch, and for round 54 it's also a decrease. Okay, so chain 1 and single crochet into this same spot, and then 2 more spots for a total of 3 single crochet. So that's 2, 3, and then single crochet 2 together, and then 3 single crochet, two together, 3 single crochet, two together, 3 single crochet, two together, 3 single crochet, and the last 2 will be together. And slip stitch. Sure. Alright, so that has us down to a total of 20 stitches. So I want you to add some more stuffing now, okay? Okay, so I've added some more stuffing, and now we're going to do round 55, and we're going to start with a chain up and a single crochet into that same stitch and into the next 2. I'm sorry, into the next 1. So that for a total of 2, and then single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet into 2, and the next 2 together, single crochet into 2, and the next 2 together, single crochet into 2, and the next 2 together, single crochet into 2, the next 2 together, all right, that was 5. Here's our beginning stitch, Get some of that fiber fill out of the way. And we're going to slip stitch into that beginning stitch. And that should take us down to 15 stitches. So for 56, we're going to chain 1, put a single crochet into that stitch, and then we're going to single crochet 2 together. So it's going to be 1 single crochet followed by 2 single crochet together. This will take us down to 10. And I am going to after this round probably put a small amount more of stuffing into it before I start the final round. Mostly because it's just a little soft and squishy there. So these are the last 2 that go together. And then I'm going to slip stitch into this beginning stitch, into both sides of the beginning stitch. All right. Let me see if I can't get a little more in there. It's very difficult to stuff once it gets this small, but it's just as difficult to crochet while the stuffing's coming out. So you have to decide which one's easier for you. Maybe a little more. Yeah, I think they like that way, the way that's going to come up. All right, so for this round, we're going to take it from 10 to 5, and we're going to single crochet 2 together all the way around. So we're going to start with the chain up, go into this first gap, pick up, and then into the next one, and the same over here. Right, slip stitch in that. So you can see that it's mostly closed, but what I'm going to do is pull off a long tail and fasten off. So let's set him down and get our yarn needle. So this step is going to be optional. If you like the way it closed, it'll be fine. If you're not sure if you like the way that it closed, you could always go this one extra step. So each of these stitches right here are the 5. I'm going to go and pick up the back part of the stitch in each of these stitches, or at least make the attempt to do that. All right, I'm going to pull it tight, cinch it closed all the way, tie a knot in it, One more knot for good measure. This will be covered. So, and then take your needle, push it in as close to you can where you finished, and then just bring it out somewhere. Doesn't matter where. And wherever you bring it out, pull it out a little tighter than you intend it to be. And when you cut it, it'll push itself back in. All right, so this part's done. And now it's time to move on to the leaf top. All right, so grab your green. And I am using a 4.5 millimeter hook for the green. And I'll see you back here. All right, we're gonna get started on the leafy top now. We're gonna start with a magic circle. Again, just wrap it around your fingers twice, crossed in the back, straight in the front, under the first one, over the second one, bring it around and just chain. Magic circle. Okay. We are going to chain up one, which is not going to be a stitch. And we're gonna place 5 single crochet into the circle. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to pull it tight. This is really small, and if you have difficulty working with small circles, this might be especially difficult for you because we're going to make a tube, and instead of doing like an I-cord, I wanted some more substance to it, so I made a tube that is a 5-stitch circle and single crochet. So it's a little tight on the fingers, okay? Once you finish your 5 stitches and you cinch it, you're going to slip stitch into the first one, both sides of the first one. And then you have your little beginning circle. It's super tiny, and I know it's hard to see, and I apologize. It's probably all going to be hard to see because my thumb is a lot bigger than what I'm working on. So for round 2, you're going to chain 1 and single crochet into each of these around, but you're only going to use the back of it. Okay? We want to create a ridge. So here's the back of this one. And that's 1. 2. Oh, didn't get all of that one. 3. 4. 5. So, like I said, it's going to be really hard to see because it's so small, but we have managed to get all 5 in there, and this is our first one right there. So we're going to slip stitch into both sides of that. If you need to use a stitch marker at this point because it is a smaller hook and it is a smaller stitch, by all means do so. All right, so let's slip stitch. Boy, I have pulled that really tight. Let's try again. There we go. All right, so now you'll notice that it's wanting to turn, which is what we wanted to do anyway. We want it to look like a stem, and by using just the back, we've created this little ridge and made it turn down. All right, so for rounds 3 through 6, all we're gonna do is put a single crochet in each stitch all the way around. All right, so we're gonna start here. So you chain up 1 and into the same space. You have 1, 2, 's wanting to turn the wrong way. Sorry. 3, here's the last one. 5, and that's taking us back to the beginning here, which is this, and we're going to slip stitch into this again. So that's round 3, and we're going to do the same thing for 4, 5, and 6. It is easier once you get past that first section. So chain up 1, 1, 2, okay, I might have lied. It was last time. 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to find our first one over here again, which is right there, and we're going to slip stitch into it. Okay, so that's round 4. Do that again for 5 and 6. Okay, so this right here is the final stitch that I made in the 6th round, and I slip stitched, and then I pulled my hook out because I'm special. What I want you to do from this point is chain up 1, and in each stitch around, instead of using the whole stitch or the back part of the stitch, we're going to use just the front part of the stitch. So this is where we're going to start and use just the front, okay? And we're going to do 5 single crochet all the way around using just the front. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, 5, and then we're going to slip stitch into our beginning stitch over here. And what this is going to do, it's going to create another ridge like we had before, but it's going to go in the opposite direction. So what this is going to do is start flattening out the bottom of this stem, okay, and then it will fit better onto the eggplant. So for this round we still have 5 stitches, and for round 8 we're going to increase. So chain up, and you're going to put 2 single crochet in each round, or each stitch, excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10 in this one. And then we're going to slip stitch into our beginning stitch here. Okay, our next round is also going to be an increase round. We are now at 10 stitches. We're going to go to 15 with round 9. Chain up 1, put 2 single crochet into the first stitch, and 1 into the next. 2 into this one, and 1 into this one. 2 here, 1, 2 in there, 1, 2 there, and 1. So what I did with the tail that was there from the magic circle is I just used a fiber fill stick or a corner turner to push the stem string in there. that does two things. It gets rid of the string so I don't have to deal with it without cutting it, and it stiffens the stem up, so it serves two purposes. And I just found it easier to tuck the whole piece of yarn back in there. All right, and then we're gonna slip stitch into our beginning stitch here. All right, that gives us 15 stitches, and so for round 10 we're gonna increase as well, and we're gonna go to 20 stitches. So chain 1, 2 single crochet into the same stitch, and then 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Two singles, 1 single in the next 2, 2 singles, and 1 single into the next 2, 2 singles, 1 single into the next 2, 2 singles, and 1 single into the next 2. Alright, and slip stitch. Alright, so what we're going to do now is make leaves. And the leaves on an eggplant sort of come down and they're kind of connected to the eggplant. So we're going to do this by going down in size, or going up in size. What I want you to do is chain 6. And now in the second chain from the hook, so here's the first chain from the hook and here's the second chain from the hook. In this one, I want you to slip stitch. All right, in the next one, right here, I want you to single crochet. And in this third one, we're gonna go up another half step and do a half double. And the next one, go up another step and do a double. And in this last one before the circle, we're gonna do a triple. So you yarn over twice, into the stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then you're gonna yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have our leaf, and to attach it, we have 1 stitch here, so we're gonna skip 2, 1, 2, and this will be our 4th stitch for the leaf. We're gonna slip stitch into it, and if we use 4 stitches on a 20 round circle or a 20 stitch circle, we'll get 5 leaves. But what I need you to do is to slip stitch into the next stitch and then chain up 6 again. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, in the second stitch from the hook, first stitch from the hook, second stitch from the hook, you're going to slip stitch. In the next stitch, you're going to single crochet. In the next stitch, you're going to half double. In the next stitch, double. And in the next stitch, triple. Skip this stitch and this stitch, slip stitch into here, and then slip stitch to the next stitch and begin your 3rd leaf. And I'll meet you over here when you get to 5 leaves. All right, here's my last leaf. Skip 2 and slip stitch into there. So we're gonna fasten off, but I want you to use an extremely long tail on there because we're gonna do a good bit of sewing to get this leaf attached to the eggplant. So we're going to pull that tight. So what I think made the best sense for me is to have these leaves tacked down all the way around the eggplant, just not to the point where they looked too tight. So you see here I left it so that they could come up just a little bit. I just didn't want them easy to rip off. So I'm gonna get ready here. You gotta get your little eggplant friend here and decide whether you want a point coming down in his face or if you want it like this in his face. But I like it like this with it split. So what I'm gonna do is push the needle in right about where I tied off and then bring it up just a little bit further. Okay. I'm gonna disconnect that there and pull it through. And then the way I did it was then push in at the point and come out just a little bit further. I don't know if you can see that very well. And then pulled it, but not really tightly. I want that to be a little loose. And then down here at this point and up in the middle of the leaf. And then down at this point right here, and then I came up in the middle here. So that's what I did all the way around. So then I went down here and came up here. Okay. So what I think what I've done is made this a little off kilter. So I am going to take the needle out. And because these stitches are so big, they actually rip out rather easily because I certainly did not have that centered well. But you have to decide which way would be best for you. So I'm going to start this over again and see if I can't get this centered better on the top, because I don't want it to pull tight. All right, so give me just a second and I'll be right back. All right, so I'm about back to where I started before I frogged it all, but I figured it'd be easier to change the camera angle so I can do it from above for you. So again, we're going to go down at this point, back out at the middle, I'm going to go down here and out at the middle, down here, out at the middle, down here, see, that leaf is already attached, so all I'm doing here is trying to find a nice green spot to come up at. And then I'm going to tie a small knot. That's bigger than I wanted. One, there's two, and then we're going to do the same thing with this green that we did with the purple as soon as I get my needle back on. So So we're going to push in someplace close to where this came out. Make sure we grab plenty of stuffing and purple underneath there. Push out somewhere else in the green. Pull out tighter than you intended to be. Snip it and it'll go back in and you're separated. So here he is. Here's our friend, the Mr. Eggplant. And here's his older brother. He's 3 days older. And I'm really glad that you guys could come and watch this with me. And I think our next little veggie friend is probably going to be a potato. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And this is Jennifer with Crafty Bones. Happy crocheting.